Ada for not wanting to share room with stepbrother and more after he came out. My father married a little over a year ago. His wife relocated with her kid, who is the same age as mine, 16. Because it's a two-bedroom residence, Stephen has also moved into my room. It didn't bother me earlier since I spent most of my time with my mother and father on weekends. My mother was summoned out of state for work and won't be returning for months, so I'm now living with him full-time. I've seen Stephen a few times, but now that I'm here all the time, I notice strange things. There's a restroom in my room, and he actually comes out naked every time, even when I'm already in the room. I constantly tell him what the F***ck, and he apologizes but continues to do it. When he takes a shower, I just leave the room. When I'm playing video games, he'll come sit right next to me, pressing up against me. It upsets me that he does that since there is more room on the sofa. Sometimes he'll be chatting to me and put his hand on my lap, but he won't move it. I don't know why it's strange for me since I don't enjoy being touched, but he's always really tactile with me no matter how many times I tell him I don't like it. What's made it particularly unpleasant is when I change or something in the room changes. He just stares at me, which freaks me out, so I'm going to do it in the restroom as well. It's always strange when he's around, and I don't like it. And he is always drawn to me. He came out around 2 months ago, and now certain things make sense. It's more weird since I think he's interested in me or something. If he comes in when I'm changing my clothes, he still stares but pretends as if he wasn't, and he goes nude around me while he's changing. So I informed my father that I no longer wanted to share my room with him and explained why. My father doesn't believe it's bad the way he is, but when I requested, he allowed me make the basement below in my own room. It was a TV room that we seldom used, and it had plenty of space for my bed and other belongings. Stephen is now enraged because I refuse to share a room with him. He accuses me of being homophobic because, by chance, I'm just doing it now, after he came out. His mother is also upset, believing that I am overreacting since boys change in locker rooms together all the time, which should not make me feel uncomfortable. She also claims that I'm acting strangely because but I'm not sure why, but I've always felt uneasy in locker rooms. Plus, he wanders around nude in front of me, which I don't enjoy. It's stressful at home, with both of them accusing me of homophobia, and Stephen accusing me of hurting his emotions by refusing to share the place with him. I didn't like anything he was doing before he came out, but it had gotten to the point where I was sick of it. Knowing he's made me question if it was all done on purpose. So, I'm not sure. Ada. Update. I'd want to thank everyone for their support at this time, since I felt like I was losing it with everyone at home, making me feel like garbage. It was quite helpful that folks understood what I was going through and didn't make me feel terrible for feeling the way I do. Some people said that I should notify my mom about what was going on since she didn't know, even though I felt awful about it. I told her a day after I posted. First, they were making fun of Stephen's behavior with me, and then they were making fun of me for being homophobic since I opted to move out of my room once he came out. She was irritated. She urged me to call my father, and as I handed him the phone, I could hear her shrieking at him. My father was irritated, and they argued for about a half hour. But he apologized for not doing anything for me in regards to Stephen, and my mother claims she doesn't want me there. Because of Stephen, and also since he doesn't like the fact that I'm sleeping in the basement and isn't sure whether it's even safe for me down there. Because it's an old basement. My mother has informed me that she wants me to accompany her there, but only if I want to. School is online, and I don't see any of my buddies anyhow, so staying with her wouldn't be a huge issue. I spoke with my father first, and then with my mother. He was furious that I wanted to accompany her, but he didn't say anything else. On Thursday, she traveled all the way back here to pick me up. I've been here at the hotel where she's staying since Friday. To be honest, it's more relaxed. I'm here alone myself most of the time since my mother needs to work all day, so I like the solitude. I've spoken with my father, and he says they're going to speak to Stephen. I'm not sure how that'll work when my stepmom was still protective over him when I left. We'll see, I suppose. I'm not sure how long we'll stay here. I'm thinking another 2-3 months, but at least I'm not at my dad's for RN with all those uneasy sensations. So that's all I had to say, since everyone has been so helpful in advising me on what I should do and how I don't need to deal with that garbage. Story 2. Ada for telling my daughter it's her fault she has no pictures of herself. So, I'm a 54-year-old girl with 5 children, 3 bio, 2 step. The problem is with my oldest, Clem, a 26-year-old girl. I only have images of Clem from the day she was born until about her 8th birthday, but none beyond that. She would destroy whatever photo she was in by making silly expressions, ducking from the camera, making strange hand gestures, or meddling with other individuals. This continued until she was 12 years old, when she began to flatly reject. We would invite her to the family portrait, but she would decline. We never pushed her, but rather gently encouraged her. She even refused to pose for school portraits. I don't have any photographs of her from birthdays, graduations, proms, vacations, or days out with her. It crushed my heart since I don't have any photos of her as she grew up. Because she isn't in the family photographs, they seem strange. Clem is now 26 years old and expecting her first kid. She had her so over for supper, and we spent the evening browsing at picture albums. When we arrived to hers, she saw that it was virtually empty. She inquired about the whereabouts of all her photographs, and I informed her that she had refused to have any taken. She became teary-eyed and ordered me to stop laughing. I'm irritated at this point, and I tell her I'm not kidding and that she caused this on herself. I reminded her that if she had conquered her pride and taken even one photograph, we wouldn't be where we are now. She became enraged and assumed I had printed out the ones she had screwed up. She became agitated and went to sit in the vehicle. The following day, today, I received a couple messages from family members accusing me of being an idiot for putting her on blast and embarrassing her. Ada, edit, many thanks for your responses. I do want to clarify something. While I agree that not including silly or obscene images was a poor decision, it is not what Clem is upset about. She's angry because I don't have any images of her from the ages of 12 to 18 to fill the book with, and the ones I do have elicited strong responses from Clem. I can't fill an album with photos I didn't take. That's why she's unhappy, not the lack of goofy rude images. Edit 2. For those of you who are thinking, who cares about nasty gestures or stupid faces? I didn't realize it needed to be spoken, but the family photographs were for everyone involved, not just myself, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents on all sides, etc. I'm sure none of them want an 8-year-old making the eat-out signal in what is supposed to be a beautiful family picture. Edit 3. It's sort of upsetting to see how many people believe that because a kid has anxiety, I berate them anytime they screw up a shot. I never scolded at Clem for making stupid faces. Instead, I would tell her to stop and smile, but her disrespectful gestures and expressions would escalate. But I suppose that's to be expected on this sub. Everyone despises their children. Update. It's been less than a week since I wanted to make apologies as soon as possible, so I printed out all the photos and placed them in the album. They didn't fill it, but I put a spread on one of the pages with the words, "Go build new memories," and a photo of her and her fiancé. I worked really hard to make it appear lovely. I phoned her and wanted to speak with her. She came, and we had a lengthy conversation. I questioned whether she had any trauma or self-esteem problems, in a more kind manner, of course, and she responded no, she just did not enjoy having her picture taken and developed the behavior of shouting and kicking to escape them. She admitted to having anxiety and having panic attacks, but stated it was primarily due to the fact that she was gassing herself up, if that makes sense. I knew she was anxious, but I had no idea she gassed herself up, if that makes sense. Gassing herself up, by the way, are her words, not mine. Regarding her first visit, she claimed that she was ashamed by her behavior, and much more so when it was exposed to her fiancé. She said that she had no idea how much time she had wasted, and that it was a highly emotional moment for her. I apologized for my language during our argument, and we both made up. I even showed her the post, and we both read the comments. We had a good chuckle at all the armchair psychologists and online investigators who believed she was in danger just because she knew a gesture as a toddler. Some folks were creating borderline fanfiction and rewriting my whole relationship with my kid based on one post, skill. That's after a little conversation, I pulled out the CD and handed it to her. She was cheerful, and she appeared to accept responsibility for her refusal to have her picture taken. I informed her I had printed all the candid photos from when she was 12 to 18 years old and asked if she wanted them. She declined. She adored the page featuring her and her fiancé, which made me very pleased. So there you have it. You may find it difficult to believe, but we have a pretty wonderful relationship apart from this event, which we are working through.